Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Teemu Lehtinen, and I'm a CEO of Kira Hub, which is an innovation hub for the built environment here in Finland. And I've also been a kind of Finnish lead for the AEC hackathons in Finland. So I'm kind of gonna tell a story of my past 5 years, what we've been doing in Finland, hacking AEC sector, one experiment at a time, maybe showing and telling a bit story about our path and highlights from the couple of years. And greetings also from Finland. It's almost evening here. It's been nice to follow the first online AEC hackathon, how it's kind of going forward with a lot of participants, 300 participants. It's been a bit challenging time for us in Finland because the July is the vacation, summer vacation time. Almost the whole Finland is closed at the moment, and a lot of people are on their vacations and summer cottages. Actually, myself also spent this whole week on this remote island that we have here, the summer cottage there, and came back today back home to also give you this speech. But a little bit about my background as well. So before I started at Kira Hub 2019, I ran this Kira Digi project in Finland for 3 years, which was a kind of a governmental led project for boosting digital transformation of the built environment sector in Finland. My background is not actually from the architecture or construction sector. I did my master's in information networks at Aalto University. But when I was doing my master's thesis, I kind of accidentally got drawn into this sector. I started studying the kind of digital transformation of the built environment, real estate and construction, and especially how building information modeling changes kind of the processes, business models, and dynamics of projects. I continued on my doctoral studies as well. So I started looking at different integration mechanisms in large construction projects and how those kind of affect the outcome. Looking at kind of technological, organizational, and then also contractual mechanisms. So then I went to Stanford twice, actually, as a visiting scholar to study local projects there, large IPD hospital projects and so on. Spent a lot of time in big rooms, interviewed hundreds of people, how they utilized BIM, how they utilized technologies in these projects. And actually in 2014, I also attended the second AEC hackathon at Facebook headquarters in Menlo Park. And there I kind of was blown away on this, how people came together for a weekend from different sectors, from the AEC professional side and also from kind of technological side, coders, programmers, developers, and how they were able to come up with actual working projects in just 48 hours. And I wanted to kind of bring that way of working to Finland as well. So I started to organize AEC hackathons in Finland in 2015, and I'm gonna tell today a little bit more about those. I also have 2 boys at home, 8 and 5-year-olds, who kind of keep me busy here as well. And apart from everything else, I'm also being kind of interested in electric cars. I started my electric car journey with Nissan Leaf back in 2014. drove that for a few years, and then changed to Tesla Model 3 almost 2 years ago. So it's been also an interesting sneak peek to really experience the latest technology in the transportation side. Some words I have to say also about Finland, if some of you in there don't know, haven't heard a lot about Finland, or where Finland is. So we're part of the Nordics in Northern Europe, right next to Sweden or between Sweden and Russia, and we're also neighboring Norway in the north side. And then there's Estonia in south, and of course Denmark is quite close by as well. Here's some of the maybe more kind of famous companies from Finland. Of course, everybody knows Nokia and how it kind of screwed up the cell phone market for themselves, or maybe Apple just came and was so much better. But there's also other famous companies coming. Finland has been quite strong in games. So games like Brawl Stars from Supercell, or Angry Birds from Rovio, or City Skylines from Colossal Order. All of those come from Finland. Also, this kind of XR, VR, AR is quite strong here. So, for example, Vario is doing now really the best in class VR headset with basically the human eye resolution is also from Finland, and those engineers are actually worked previously for Nokia and Microsoft. For the built environment sector, there's also global companies like Kone doing the elevators, Solibri and Tekla more on the BIM side. Tekla is doing the market leader on the structural engineering software. Was acquired by Trimble a few years ago, and then Solibri, which is a model checking software, was acquired by Nemetschek also a few years ago. Then we have a lot of timber industry as well. The biggest timber companies are UPM and Stora Enso, who are also doing a lot of construction materials. When looking at the kind of more built environment and prop tech, it's actually quite surprising that there's a lot of prop tech startups and prop tech companies emerging in Finland as well. Here's one slide to kind of have an overview of almost 100 companies, startups and growth companies, and how they are related to different life cycles of real estate. And here's a bit of a comparison of different Nordic countries. So it's actually quite surprising that in Finland there's most PropTech startups and companies per capita when compared to other Nordics, for example. And actually this might be even to any other country in the world. So for some reason there's now a lot of interest and a lot of effort coming from Finland to this sector as well. So basically, these are the 4 things I wanna go through with you today. First, the AEC hackathons in Finland that I've been organizing since 2015. Then a little bit about Kiradisi project, which was basically a 3-year hackathon in that sense, where we got also our government interested and excited about this acceleration of innovation within built environment sector. Then some words about KiraHub, which is kind of the continuation of the KiraDigi project, and then the World Summit on Digital Built Environment, WDBE, that we've been organizing annually. So since 2015, we've been organizing 5 AEC hackathons in Finland, and we've got 500 plus participants in all of those combined, 40 plus speakers, 50 plus projects, and 3 new startups emerged from the hack teams, which is in a sense already the kind of really nice numbers. We also had a lot of company interest in that sense that a lot of established companies have also actively been participating and being involved in the hackathons. They've sent their own teams there. They've kind of mixed with other participants. They've developed a lot of new prototypes for new products and services that have actually ended up in actual products and services in the market. So, for example, Sweco has been really active here in Finland in the Finnish hackathons, so in utilizing this as a way of working for kind of rapid prototyping and towards new products and services. Here are some quick kind of overview and pictures of the Finnish hackathons. This was the first one at Tekla headquarters in Espoo. We got almost 200 participants and about 15 teams on this first one. It had a lot of interest, and that was kind of the start of the community, which has been now growing over the years. The winner of the hackathon was a team that developed this kind of a VR application for kitchen renovations. So at this hackathon, we actually had a HTC Vive for the first time, kind of in the public event, and this team utilized that, and they ended up winning the hackathon, and they actually ended up forming a company around that idea as well. So the company called Tea Time was built from this team, and they are still around after 5 years. They're doing quite well. They are one of the leading VR studios focusing on the built environment at the moment in Finland and also in the Nordics. This was the second hackathon, AEC Hackathon 3.2 at Sweco in 2016. It was also really a good crowd, about 150 people, 12 projects. One interesting thing that happened in this hackathon was that we actually had a Peter Westerbacka from Rovio, from Angry Birds, former Mighty Eagle, the marketing manager from the Rovio games company, giving an inspirational speech for the participants, and he ended up saying during his speech that he wants to build a tunnel between Helsinki and Tallinn, undersea tunnel, that he just last week was discussing that in Estonia, in Tallinn, and now he's going to do it. and we actually live streamed the talk openly, and from this kind of a news anchor or news person picked it up from the biggest newspaper in Finland and made a story about it the next day. So it was interesting to wake up after this kind of exhausting hackathon weekend to see this story on the biggest newspaper in Finland, to see that Peter Vesterbacka is going to build a 15 billion euro tunnel, undersea tunnel between Helsinki and Tallinn. And since then, actually, he's actually started doing the project. So the project is on its way. He's been negotiating the funding with different partners, and now they've been doing all kinds of kind of needed analysis and so on. Also, some of the design has been done. So now it's basically on the political side, because we don't have that much experience in Finland. Most of the bigger infrastructure projects in Finland are done by the government and municipalities and cities, and not by the private sector. So that's kind of the biggest political issue at the moment, that should we actually let private sector to do this kind of huge infrastructure project or not. On the third hackathon, we collaborated with UltraHack, which is a hackathon service provider in Finland, doing a lot of different hackathons for different sectors. In this one, we partnered up with City of Helsinki, and okay, there was one question or comment, and where we're actually hacking the city model of Helsinki and doing new applications utilizing the city model, which Helsinki is actually been, City of Helsinki has been one of the first cities in the world to open up their city model data as CityGML openly for anyone to utilize and do applications with. Okay, yes. Fourth one we did in Tampere, which is the third biggest city in Finland, about 2 hours north from Helsinki. This was part of our other event as well with the Kiradigi project, and this was a bit smaller hackathon. We had 7 teams hacking this weekend, and fifth one we did as part of the Finnish housing fair in Jätkäsaari in Helsinki, which is a new district in quite close to Helsinki city center that they're now building, and they wanted to have an AEC hackathon as part of that on this old building that is now transformed from a university building to a 5-star hotel. So we basically had laser scans and BIM models of that old building, and hack teams could utilize those. And one of the challenges was kind of to come up with tools that would help in kind of getting into new models of utilizing this huge old building that would be something in between of housing and hotels, something kind of living as a service type of thing, and what kind of tools and technologies would support this kind of business model. This picture is actually also quite interesting because this was a stage for the housing fair, and they also had a concert on Sunday evening there, and our hackathon teams actually got to pitch their projects on that same stage right before the main act and the main concert. So the audience was actually full of the kind of teenage girls, because the main act was this young rap artist from Finland, and it was really interesting and fun for the hack teams to pitch their projects for this audience. Okay, so that was kind of quick story on these 5 AEC hackathons that we've organized in Finland. Now I'm gonna go through a little bit about the KiraDigi project, which we got the government interested in this kind of agile hackathon way of working as well, and kind of experimentation. So KiraDigi project started in 2016 and ended early 2019 actually. So it lasted for about 3 years, and it was basically a wake-up project for the real estate and construction sector, for the built environment sector. So kind of the acknowledging that hey, this is one of the biggest industrial sectors, but also slowest to adopt and implement any new technologies that are around us. And we need to do something about that. And we actually, as part of the project, we set up this experimental program. So we actually got 8 million euros funding from the Ministry of the Environment for getting as many companies and organizations in Finland to experiment with new digital opportunities within this field. And we set up this program where anyone could actually submit an application for an experiment, digital experiment, and the government would pay 40% of all project costs and 60% would be own funding. So we ended up having 6 open calls in 2 years, almost 400 applications from companies. We funded 139 experimental projects, altogether almost 13 million euros with the own funding part included. So that was quite interesting experiment itself, kind of like huge 3-year hackathon project with a lot of projects inside. We ended up also working with over 550 organizations within these experiments. So kind of the main objective of getting as many companies and organizations experimenting with new technologies was met. Here are some of the highlights from these projects. So this is a snapshot of digital land use planning, a visual platform that integrates data from different sources and also integrates stakeholders of the land use planning and zoning process together real time, so that the process could be faster and more agile in a sense, getting the waiting times out of the process, getting kind of the shortening the time of getting kind of the shared understanding. This is a wind simulations projects utilizing the CityGML model of City of Helsinki. So this is a district of Kalasatama where they are now building new high-rise buildings, and they wanted to simulate how these new buildings will affect the winds in the area. And they actually utilized a lot of same technologies that they utilize in the car industries. for the first time in the built environment sector, and so it was really interesting to see the results of these projects. This is automating design processes done by Sweco. So the idea was to utilize AI and machine learning to automate some of the design parts of the design processes where still a lot of manual work by the engineer is required. So for example, in this picture, there are kind of the joints of the structure, which is kind of repetitive and the same. So they actually were able to come up with an algorithm that would the algorithm would help the designer to automate some of the process quite efficiently. So in one experiment, the algorithm was able to do a three-day work of the structural engineer in 30 seconds. This is about BIM-based building permit process. So we had 3 different cities and municipalities involved to start prototyping a system and a process where the municipality would actually take building function models as building permit documents. So here they utilized also a platform where the BIM model would be put in the right lot, and also they utilized the city model as a basis. So in that sense, you could actually see the future building there in its right environment as well. And also they could automate some of the city officials' work on kind of doing the building code checkings and all that. So they utilized Solibri Model Checker to automate at least 70% of the building code checkings from the models. This is another project for totally paperless construction site. So this was done with Fira and Sweco, and they wanted to try if they could do a smaller scale construction project with no papers at all, no prints, no printouts at all. So they ended up having a system where the workers, every worker would have a handheld device, either a cell phone or a tablet, and they would deliver only the information they need, location-based and role-based. So, and they could view it as they wish. So it could be a 3D augmented reality in the space, or 2D drawings if they wished. And they also, with this approach, they could be sure that the information that was delivered to the worker was the latest information. So sometimes if they print out designs and there have been changes, the worker could actually use a print that is out of date. So that would lead a rework to a lot of new rework and so on. So here that wouldn't be a challenge. And almost 95% actually from the workers really liked this idea, and it could be scalable. This was a managing concrete curing conditions with IoT on site that we did with NCC construction company. So here basically they experimented with putting sensors inside the concrete, outside the concrete, and basically everywhere, different kinds of sensors that there is in the market, and then utilize the real-time data on the environment to optimize the concrete curing time and the next steps. This is a cleaning robot for the construction site. cleans the site when the work is not going on, like during the night, and also can move some of the tools and equipment based on where they need it. This is eChargy, which is more like a platform economic approach to electric car charging. So this is kind of like an Airbnb for electricity. So with their digital platform and this low-cost device, anyone can put this in their socket and start reselling electricity to anyone else within the city environment, and also setting their own price if they wish. So this is it's been quite interesting, and also a lot of the we in Finland we have this kind of a housing company model where there's a lot of apartments together form this kind of housing company, and then when you buy an apartment you actually buy stock from this housing company, and within this environment where some of the electricity is used by the housing company, some of it is used by the apartment owner. It's been quite difficult to get now that the electric cars are increasing. It's been quite difficult to organize charging in this environment. So this kind of system actually makes it way easier, because it's really easy to the person that will kind of use the energy will pay for it right away. So that way it is really easy. Okay, so kind of putting things together on Kiradigi project, it was actually a really huge success. The stakeholders really liked what we were able to kind of accomplish during the project. So we had 5 different ministries from the government involved. We had cities and municipalities, we had the private sector and industry associations. And here's some of the figures on the impact from the financial side. So for these 139 experiments, almost 5 million euros were put from the kind of public funding from the government. And then the own funding part was almost 8 million euros. Already during the Kiradigi project, these projects were able to raise further funding, almost 22 million euros. So half of all the projects have been continuing to be developed to actual products and services in the market, and this further funding has been kind of financing that, where almost 60% came from VCs and companies themselves, and then a little bit over 40% came from government, from Business Finland, which funds technology development in Finland. Then we did a study what would be a potential impact of these solutions if we were able to scale them up and adopt them as widely as possible just in Finland. And so the potential benefit in new business and also in productivity would be 5.5 billion euros annually. So there is a huge potential in this sector and in these solutions. The biggest kind of challenge now is to take the kind of next step from the experimentation. So how we can actually make these new solutions as kind of part of the new way of working. How can we actually scale them up and adopt them as widely as possible in different processes and services. And that's why KiraHub was formed. So the stakeholders from the KiraDigi project wanted to see that the work would continue somehow, and they set up KiraHub, which is a non-profit association to boost sustainable digitalization of the built environment. And so I'm running that as well now, and we are an open ecosystem. So basically, openness means that everything we do is open. All the results of all the projects and everything is open to anyone. And that was actually a winning principle in KiraDigi already. So all these experimentations that was done in KiraDigi, their results were open as well. So we actually had some people downloading some of the project reports from Singapore and using Google Translate to translate them into English, and then to utilize that information. And also people came, like delegations from Singapore came to Finland to learn more about the projects and results. So that has been quite interesting. We also do diverse co-creation, and we want to make this sector more diverse. We, at least traditionally, one of the challenges in the built environment has been that it's been quite close sector with quite homogeneous people and talent, in that sense, that kind of educational paths, where people end up in this sector, from which study programs and so on. It hasn't been too diverse. So that's something that we want to start kind of changing, because we see that that's one of the key things of increasing innovativeness and increasing this kind of development and evolution is that we have more and more diverse people from other sectors coming to this sector as well. We also actually have metrics that we utilize on this in everything we do. So all events, all projects, all activities that we do, we measure the diversity of the participants. How many are architects? How many are GCs? How many are building owners? How many are engineers? How many are men? How many are women? And so on. And then we also openly publish those metrics to try to have the impact to kind of more diversity. Then maybe last but not least, we want to make this disruption, in a sense, exciting. So I know not all people actually like the word disruption, but I think it's a good word in that sense that it kind of defines the change in a way that we have to actually disrupt the status quo, because otherwise nothing happens. We just go on as we have been going on for the past decades. So, but we can actually change the mindset how we see the disruption. Do we see it as an opportunity or a threat? And I think that's important as well, that everything we are trying to accomplish and we are doing has to be exciting, has to be this kind of positive, so that people are getting excited about it in different layers of the organizations and also in different organizations. So that's kind of in the core of everything we do, to have this positivity and excitement there as well. This is our 3-person team, so we're a small team, but we probably do our work is way bigger than just our 3-person team, because we, of course, everything we do in collaboration and partnership with others. So we don't actually do anything just ourselves. So Vappu is our head of community and culture, and then we have Sami, who is head of partnerships. And yes, I'm leading the team. We are now based in Helsinki city center, where there's this Maria 01 tech campus now being built. So this is actually an old hospital campus, which is now turned into one of the biggest startup and growth company campuses in the Europe. So this yellow part is the old one that was built actually in 1908, and then this white part or gray part is now the new extension part, which they start to build next year, and it's actually going to be a huge 50,000 square meter extension. This is our hub, our space now. So there's room for different kind of functions, workshops, events, co-working, meetings, digital showroom, and so on. These are kind of some of the pictures from the extension projects, what is coming to the campus in near future. So makerspace and so on. Okay, then the last thing that I want to share is about World Summit on Digital Built Environment that we're doing this year now for the 3rd time, and we decided to go fully virtual on this event. We're doing it in collaboration with Estonia and Tallinn this year as well. So we're actually building a future twin city with parts of Helsinki, parts of Tallinn, and then the future tunnel in between in this virtual environment. And the topic is redefining sustainability for urban future. We started the whole summit to be able to start forming a platform for this community to come together and share the best practices, how digital processes, services, technologies actually are changing this sector, and what has been done in different countries, and what can we learn and share together. This year we decided to do it together with Estonia. Estonia is kind of like a little brother to Finland, and they've been actually really digital as a society in many ways, even more than Finland, and also within the construction sector they have now a lot of initiatives taking things further. A lot of similar objectives with Finland as well, so it's been really interesting to do the collaboration. I see this virtual production now really a nice way to get actually even way more people involved globally with this event. And I kind of like the idea of starting this kind of digital Burning Man for this industry in going forward. We partner up with Zone, which is a leading VR studio in Finland and Europe actually, and they have been building virtual Helsinki on top of Unreal Engine for the past few years, and we're utilizing that here as well in this summit. And we're actually utilizing some of the latest technologies for the first time for events like this, for example, pixel streaming and so on. So it'll be interesting to see how we can actually bring the keynote speakers as themselves live on this virtual environment, real time in really high, good quality, as part of kind of like a fortnight experience, but in these kind of settings. This is quick overview of the program, day 1 and day 2. So first day will be in Helsinki part and day 2 in Tallinn part, and 4 different topics: redefining sustainable architecture and digital interaction, with keynotes from Henning and Larsen, redefining sustainable quality of life, redefining role of technology, and sustainable construction and life cycle. So you can find actually more information from wdbe.org.
That's an exciting lineup. We have one question in the Q&A and we're almost out of time. Did you want to take a look at that before we wrap up?
Yeah, I can just, I'm almost finished here, so we can look at the question after that. Okay, so here's the keynote lineup that is now being confirmed. And I actually want to show a small video on that we did with Zone about the trailer of the upcoming. You can see the virtual Helsinki on Unreal, and we also did a small shooting on the green rooms to integrate people there. So. Yes, so we're actually now selling early bird tickets, and we have actually a special discount for AEC Hackathon Online participants during July, 40% off normal price. If you're interested in you can go to bit.ly/AECH40off and utilize that special price. That was actually everything I want to cover with you today. Have a great hack and summer. And if you want to contact me personally, you can contact me through email, teemu@kirahub.org, or connecting me with LinkedIn and so on.